Hey now, so we are live on the channel. We're only streaming on the British Electric Blues Show YouTube channel. We're not live on any other platform. Hey, how's it going, brother? How's it going? Good to see you. Volume is super low. Okay, so hold on then. It could be because I've got my... Okay. Let me just try this. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. How about that? Is that better? It's really loud in my ear. But it's because I've got my THR 30 amp hooked in. Still really low. Up a bit more. Okay, let's try that. That's really loud. That's really loud. Is that better? If you guys can hear that, that's good. I'll just turn my earphones down. Testing, 1, 2, 3. But that's good. All right. So we have Warren, my friend, my co-host, the professor, Simon Williams, Johnny Bean. G'day, Johnny, and I see Nelson and D-Tube. Hey guys, look, we were doing the British Electric Blues Show yesterday, and we were doing the background to Abbey Road. And because the flow was on, I didn't want to interject with a discussion about a new guitar. The professor, that's right. So this is a Epiphone Firebird 2020, inspired by Gibson. So it's a little bit different apparently from the previous models that Epiphone have done. Now, I am a fan of Epiphone. Over here, that there is an Epiphone 335 Pro that I upgraded about a year ago with some pickups that'll come to me. Anyway, it plays fantastically. But that's not an inspired by Gibson model. These ones are. The new range of Epiphones are. So I checked it out a couple of weeks ago and just checked it out again and went online, read some reviews and thought, holy cow. Yeah. It's got a C shape. It's a one-piece neck right through the body. You guys, can go and check out all the specs. But the one thing that I wanted to mention about these first issue models when they come out is that they are generally much better than models of guitars that follow. And I'll tell you why. So this here is a classic vibe, 2008, and I got this in 2011. It's a Fender Squire classic vibe, made in Japan. If you guys know anything about classic vibe guitars, they received awesome reviews from a lot of good YouTube reviewers, basically since 2008, 2009. And I've had this since 2011, and I've played it in live situations and here in the man cave. And I've compared that to other models that have followed it, and the quality just isn't there. So they make these now in Indonesia. Now I'm not knocking Indonesian made guitars, but yeah, these were made in China. So there's a theory that these inspired by Gibsons because they were following on from the bankruptcy and Curly taking over, that there definitely is a claim to fame for Gibson and Epiphone. So they had to get these right. And I have to tell you, I've never played a Firebird in my life. The way that it sits on your lap, these are apparently mini humbuckers, pro bucker bursts. Sounds amazing. Yeah, fantastic guitar. The neck is awesome. It's a slim taper C, a little bit different from that one, which has a D taper. And I remember Simon and I, or maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, talking about Epiphone guitars versus the Squire range of guitars. And I remember saying to him, the Squire guitars, the classic Vibe series guitars that I've played out of the box, were set up perfectly. They were fantastic. The action, the intonation was just brilliant. They came out of the box sparkling. And I compared that to my Casino, and, when I've had chats with other guys, there's been really no comparison with Epiphone versus Squire, the intermediate range of guitars. But I have to tell you, inspired by Gibson Epiphone range that I've seen at my local shop, it's phenomenal. They are fantastic guitars. So let me just catch up with the chat, guys, because I've done a bit of talking there. So, hey Andrew, DG, morning, and okay, yeah, we're all saying hi. Well, it's light there. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. in the evening, and it's summer. You guys are still in winter. That's good. Volume is better, thank you. The professor just tweeting our photos, viewers from last night. Great show last night, crazy. Yeah. I flicked through the show, saw Simon, and put a little comment in the show comment that the album that we're discussing on Saturday New Zealand time, Friday evening North American time, is 1984. Yeah. I won't buy Gibson anymore after they buy Authentic Campaign trying to sue small. Yeah, look, I got to agree with you, Warren. There is a case to that. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for the vibe of something, if you need something that's, going to reflect, something at a reasonable cost, this is just nowhere near the price of a Gibson Firebird. For a guy like me, that's an option, because I'll only ever have one proper Gibson, and there it is there, And that's enough. That's enough for me. Yeah, it's okay, Simon. Yeah, so, yeah, Johnny, clearly if I'm not watching your show live, us Van Halen nuts, we go and check out the streams that other guys do. And, obviously yours is the foundation, the benchmark show. And Warren has some interesting news too, if he hasn't already said it in the chat here. But he's got something to tell. Epiphone only ever needed one tick the box pickups and finally get. I'm glad they to return. Yeah. Look, I think you're right, Deja Voodoo and Simon. I think that a lot of those Epiphones that I saw from about 2007, 2008, a lot of them were just, Epiphone guitars. Nothing. I got to be careful because some guys might have Epiphones from around that period. But when you compare the Epiphones from around that period, even up to 2012, 13, 14, 15, to this new range that they've got, wow. Yeah, just the attention to detail, Graphtec nuts. This has got Grover tuners. It's just, phenomenal. Yeah. If Gibson are cutting their margin by supplying a good quality instrument to get some kind of publicity and brand recognition again, they've done that. But there's a but. When you look at, again, I just mentioned it 5 minutes ago, you look at the Fender, Squier, Classic Vibes, they certainly have gone down in quality from the original series. So, that was a motivating factor. So if you guys are looking for at getting a good quality, affordable Gibson type guitar, this is the time. This is the time to run into the shop or jump online and pick something up. My Epiphone is a piece of junk, but this is Johnny saying, but when I had a deal with Gibson, I played it when the rep was at the show. Laugh out loud. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to argue with you, Johnny, because that was a thing with Epiphone. They, a lot of guys were calling them junk guitars, but they're not now. Right, anytime. Epiphone, I love them, but the switch tips and the output jacks need a little. Yeah, Nelson, I have to agree with you. So that ES355 there is about just over a year old. I replaced the pickups with Tone Riders, Alnico 4s, the classic ones, and the switch I needed to get that replaced, and that was replaced only recently, only a couple of months ago with the Switchcraft, and it's just so much better. But having said that, though, I don't know what this switch here is, but it's not that junky, flimsy one that normally comes with Epiphone. So, yeah, do I need a 64th guitar? What do you reckon, Simon? What do you reckon, guys? There's always an argument for a new guitar. So Warren says, I always replace my pots, pickups, and pubs with my Epiphones. I'm going to say you probably won't need to with this new range. This new line that's out. I'm confident to say it they're nothing like we've seen. Yeah. And that's coming from the Fender guru. The head of Epiphone is Al John Go. He has revitalized the brand and is often in YouTube chat shows. Okay, Simon. Well, if you do come across him in any of the chats, tell him about your friend from New Zealand and the inspired by Firebird. Remarkable guitar. The only thing I had to do to this is just drop this down. It was about 5 miles off the fretboard. And if you guys are familiar with this kind of bridge system, or, it's just a matter of screwing that down to make it flush with the, what do you call it? What's this thing here? The guitar top, the body. And then away you go. Just retune it. Comes with standard 10s. Hey Clive, been a long time since I've seen you. Thank you for joining us. I'm just talking about the new inspired by Gibson Firebird I picked up, and about Epiphone guitars, the latest models anyway. And we're just sharing some of our thoughts about them. They are phenomenal guitars, and yeah, I think they're going to give some of the other brands a run for their money. And I remember, Simon, do you remember? I think you and we did a show on this, or it was a topic that dominated a show we did about Gibson, and I think this was something that we kind of thought that they should do. Maybe they watched our show. Anyway, it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. They certainly had to get, you got to get, if you're a big brand, you got to have a good middle of the range. Your middle of the range brands have to be good. You get them into that bracket, you're going to get them buying those kind of things. So Warren has picked up a Clapton Strat, and Warren needs to come on the show and unbox that Stratocaster, that bad boy. He needs to come on the British Electric Blues show, doesn't he, guys? He needs to come on here and talk about that bad boy. No pressure. Send you the link. Awesome. Okay. Happy to come on and okay. Well, you are more than welcome to come on the Sunday show. You've got an idea what time that kicks off. You need to flick me an email, and here's my email here so that I can send you, hold on for a second, there's my email scrolling on the bottom there, doncur@extra.co.nz. It's streaming on the bottom there. There it is there. doncur@extra.co.nz. If you want to come on the Sunday show with Simon and I and Brad and talk about your Clapton Stratocaster, you are more than welcome to do that. In fact, we would be very, very privileged to have you come on and talk about your channel, what you want to achieve with your channel, and anything else. Okay, got that. That's cool. Yeah, flick me an email. Yeah. Awesome. That'll be fantastic. Now, since saying my entire Epiphone list, Sparkle, Casino Gold Master. Oh wow. Yes, those master acoustics were fantastic. Yeah. I think they've done really well. Yeah, I agree, Simon. It'll be great. Be fantastic. We will. We can delay. Yeah, anything. We've always said that. Simon and I have always said that right from the beginning. We will delay anything to have you guys on here and talk about anything that you guys want, show anything that you guys have got, and do it. Yeah. And what I'll do too, I know that I said it. Forgive me for not doing it. I'll do a card for your channel too, Warren. I'll do a card for your channel so that when you're in the chat, we can do stuff like this. Want to hear some new awesome music? Check out Brad on brad-cook.com. Yeah. Awesome, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. I did see your comment last night, Warren, saying show that bad boy. But we were on a roll, and it would be rude for me to interrupt my co-hosts when they're sticking to the script. Sticking to But we can always delay, a show for a guest. That's no problem. Nice work. Great promote. Yeah, look, Deja Vu, we were very lucky to have Brad. He's slotted in. He's dovetailed into the show outstandingly. Simon and I appreciate his contributions to the show, as do you guys. So, I'm lucky. I'm lucky to have two awesome guys. And keep watching the show because, Simon and I were just talking today about a segment that Simon's going to provide on each show, which will be interesting and entertaining. So no pressure for Simon there, but he's got to come up with an intro video for his segment, and so each time we do a live show, he'll have something to offer specifically about anything that we're going to be talking about. So that's pretty cool. And then we have Brad, obviously, with his tone and tech tips. And we haven't done it for the last couple of shows, but we've also got This Week in Clapton History too. So you've got to have a script in front of you, and you've got to follow the script if you want to get everything done. Otherwise, you just end up talking. Which isn't a bad thing. No pressure, Simon. No pressure. Simon the Professor. That is Simon's unofficial role in the organisation known as the British Electric Blues Show. He is He's going to provide some concrete historical data for you guys out there. You know, who said that blues guys can't inspire you to have a fuller sense of history? Yeah, if you guys watched the show yesterday, Simon did something pretty good. He gave a background about what was happening when the Beatles were recording and up until the release of Abbey Road. You know, what was happening culturally, socially, politically. And that's personally, I think that's going to be the key for a lot of the albums that we talk about, because that's going to provide an understanding of what was happening with a lot of these artists. You know, a majority of the artists that we talk about were, you know, sponges. They were influenced by the world around them, and you know, the 60s right up into the mid 1970s were, was a revolutionary time. And the music that we talk about certainly is a mirror of those important times. And the fact that Simon's going to pinpoint a couple of key things will be interesting for us. Yeah. So I was talking about that with a friend of mine today. About the... Yeah. So, again... So, what we have to do, we have to be very careful that we don't turn this bloody program into and spend an hour talking about the moon landing, because it's pretty easy to do, you know. So that's why when he does the segment show, you guys can talk about that in the chat, but the co-hosts will just continue following the script. But that was an interesting point. Look, no argument, Simon. Late 60s, astonishing times. You know. Yeah, but there was a collective. You know, there was this collective ideal happening, which is, you know, something. Is it lacking today? Without bashing, without being critical, without having a critical spirit. Yeah. Look, and I think that's probably why, for a lot of young guys that fall in love with rock and roll, blues music, that I've seen on social media, become 60s and 70s nuts. You know, because they can identify something that was pretty cool. The 60s were an awesome period. Look, no argument, Clive. You know, this show, a big chunk of this channel is devoted to music from that period, and we'll never tire talking about it. You know, we'll branch off. At the beginning of April last year, we had Carl doing the American Treasures series, you know, and that gave us an opportunity to talk about some electric American blues artists and some bands that were directly inspired by the British scene. And Arvin has mentioned a couple of times too that we need to do a Delta Blues series. So look, you know, we've got a lot to talk about, and we'll get Carl on for those shows, because he definitely is an encyclopedia when it comes to you know, a lot of that American blues stuff. Spending 12 years there wasn't a complete waste of time. If you're watching it, Carl, if you're watching this, if you're lurking in the background, it wasn't a complete waste of time. Your trip to America. So what's Nelson saying here? Epiphone Nelson now called the frantic slanted humbucker in the bridge to get a Firebird pickup in the neck with a hard case. Wow, that's not happening at Squire. My music range is generally 40 to 80, but mainly 60s, 70s. Andrew would know the song by Skyhooks. Yeah. They were big. Skyhooks, Aussie band. They were big. They were big here. I remember I had a couple of uncles who were Skyhooks nuts. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Deja Vu. Showing. But I think there's a big but there. I'd like to see them continue the quality of the components and, the attention to detail, the frets, the finishing. They've got instead of having a plastic nut here, they've got that new bone nut, which does make a difference, in my opinion. Grover tuners, I'd like to see them continue it. I would hate them to go down after 3 or 4 years of just, okay, we're going to make these now in Indonesia and we're not going to have Grovers and we're going to have some junky switch and we're going to have these junky pickups and not going to be burst buckers or anything like that. Well, if you're doing anything for the girls, Warren, that's always a good thing. Yeah, they were a big band. I remember, a couple of my uncles being heavily influenced. But yeah, well done, Epiphone. Well done, Gibson. The only way that they were going to get out of the SHIT guys was to bring the quality up. Have Epiphone reflect some of the Gibson ranged guitars at a affordable level. That's never going to be a silly idea. And price it accordingly. So, we're all rock and roll blues nuts here, and we all know how significant Gibson and Fender are to, the legacy that we follow, and obviously for the next generation of guitar players. You want Gibson, you want Fender to be, Epiphone. You want them to be good guitars. So guys, I'm gonna split. It's been 34 minutes. Always a pleasure hanging out with you. My co-host Simon and I and Brad, we enjoy hanging out with you guys. Share our channel with your friends. I'm sorry if it always sounds like I'm on to this, but I have been reminded by a couple of viewers in the past and recently to keep on asking, because the only way that we can grow the channel is to keep asking you guys to help us. So and I'm lucky we've got guys on social media platforms sharing links to the channel, and if you share the channel and keep watching, like I say, we've got Simon's new segment coming up. That's always going to be pretty cool. We've got the 5150 show going with Kurt, 5150, and hopefully when the Rummeister is back from his work commitments, He always has a home on the 5150 show, so he will be there. In the meantime, Brad and I and Kurt will look after that. We have the Sunday show with Simon and Brad, and we've got some plans there. So, and if you guys have any suggestions to the show, fire them through. Simon and I and Brad will listen to you guys, and Kurt. I know Brad likes talking about it. But he likes to mention it. We do consider your comments. You guys are part of anything that we achieve, and we realise that we have to do this the hard way, and that's by asking you guys to help us. So, yeah, share the channel, hang out with us, and let's just make 21 together as a community at least a lot better than 2020. So Clive, thank you for hanging out. Always a pleasure. Warren, dear friend of the channel, who's already said live in the chat, guys, that he will join us. So we've got that in writing. If he doesn't join us, we've got some nice words that we can say about Warren. And it's, not nice words that anybody wants to be called live. Simon, cheers, brother. Thank you for joining us. Nelson, Deja Voodoo. Who else? Nelson. Okay, I'm saying hi to Johnny. Thank you for hanging out. Special shout out to Johnny. If it wasn't for Johnny Bean, this channel wouldn't be here. Johnny Bean was the main reason why Carl and I and Simon decided to get together and hang out and talk about the Rolling Stones and classic rock music. We saw what Johnny was doing with his co-hosts and thought, that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool, you can find a couple of friends and hang out and talk about things that you like. And that was the main reason why we did it. I was working with Carl. He split, went on to sell real estate, and I used to talk music with the guy all the time. And I thought, wow, what am I going to do? Okay. I kind of forced them into doing a couple of shows with me, the All Things Sticky Fingers show. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. We did that for a while, and then he realised that he was starting to sell houses, so weekend time became more and more important. You have bills to pay. This show ain't going to pay any bills. And then we were lucky, so Simon drew the short straw. Somehow we managed to I don't know. I don't know how we conned Simon. I don't know. I think we bribed him with the hope of being paid one day. I don't know. Superstardom. What did we promise you? What did we promise you, Simon? Can you remember what? I always promise people things. I don't know what I promised you. You asked and I saw the stars. Oh my God. No money, just some stars. Oh. Still waiting. Hey, send me the bill. Arvin, hey brother, how are you? Very, very good friend of the channel. Arvin there. Arvin sent me a link to an outstanding country series documentary on YouTube. And when I get myself organised, I will share that link in the chat next show with you guys. Thank you, Arvin. That documentary is stunning. That channel is stunning. It's even the jazz documentary. I started looking at some of the jazz, the history of jazz, and wow. You don't need to go far to get good stuff. You guys, there's some good stuff on YouTube. You just, got to dig it out and got to share it. And he gets to document the Antipodean wildlife, the colonial blue. Yeah, well, that's right. We do talk about that. We are former colony of Mother England. Very proud of our English roots here in New Zealand, unlike the Australians. Australians have a better cricket team than us, and at times a better cricket team than England, but at the moment they got thrashed by a fourth-rate Indian team. Australian cricket. Wow. Yeah. You're right, Arvin. That's just, thank you. One of the reasons why country music and blues music is so important, because music for the people, music of the people, it was there in all facets of human life, community life, and how that music from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, congealed and became, rock and roll in the 60s and the 70s. Look at Exile on Main Street, for example, by the Rolling Stones. Classic example of an amalgamation of country and blues. Fantastic example of it. Strange word. Cricket team, strange word. Yeah, deja voodoo. I love cricket. I love it, and I've watched the Australian cricket team over the years destroy teams. But I think your captain, your wicketkeeper captain, is, I think his days might be numbered. I have no idea who the replacement captain will be, because you have the Ashes. The Ashes is next year too, so my money's on England, Simon, winning the Ashes. Good on you, Warren. Well, it's your national sport. It's not rugby union, it's not rugby league, it's not AFL, it's cricket. Great game. You for our North American friends, I'll just give you, I'll paint this little picture for you. It's the most unfair game in the world. You're one batsman, and there's 11 fielders around there, all after you. One person, one man against 11 other guys. You never have that in any other sport. Yeah. Shane Warne was a freak. And I'm happy to say that I was there at the beginning of Shane Warne's career. Back in the olden days, I used to drink a bit of beer, and I was hanging out with some friends, and it was the Tri-Series tournament. It was New Zealand, South Africa, and Australia. And it was what the Aussies called the World Series. And South Africa had just come out of the cricketing wilderness, so it was about 93, 94, 92, if my memory, around that period. And Donald was called White Lightning. He was in the South African cricket team. And then we were sitting there with some friends, drinking some beers, watching this one day cricket thing. And this, little bit of a chubby fellow came out. He's got this ball, beach blonde hairdo, and he starts bowling these guys out with these spinners. It was phenomenal. It was just fun. And I remember because, I've played social cricket, haven't played competitively, but even that social grade cricket here in New Zealand and Australia, it's, people want to take your head off. You still want to smack that ball. Yeah, it's big in Jamaica. Absolutely. The West Indies were for a long period there. In fact, what my Australian brothers will understand this, and Simon will know this. So you could bowl as many bouncers as you wanted. Now a bouncer is a short ball, and it's a fast bowler's way of taking your head off. You could bowl as many bouncers in an over that you wanted, and then all of a sudden the West Indies had the four Andy Roberts. You guys will know the other three guys. Joel Garner. Anyway, these four Jamaican, West Indian dudes, and they decided one day that they were going to go out there and they were going to take the heads off every opposition team, and they did it. And the Australians didn't like it, and the English didn't like it. So they changed the rules that you could only bowl one bouncer per over to give the Aussies and the English guys an opportunity to hit the ball. Michael Holding, yeah. Wow. And these guys were phenomenal. And then, the Australians came along with Jeff Thompson and, Lilly. And they nudged that ball faster. Still, Jeff Thompson. Holy cow. Wow. Yeah, we can't talk cricket. Otherwise, we'll never get to finish the show. Yeah, but good to see. Good to see you guys love cricket, because it's a interesting game. It's a tough game. It's a game of strategy, tactics, intimidation, ability, guts. Got to take a lot of guts. You stand there and take some body blows when the ball's been bowled at 140 k's. Courtney Walsh, that's it. That's right, Yeah, Simon, yeah. Holy cow. Pascoe and Lilly in the 70s, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it was just phenomenal, and then, because I've always loved batting, so the Australian batsmen, you had Mark Waugh, number 3 batsman, and then, who was the other Waugh? Steve Waugh, phenomenal, just beautiful. The little chubby Tasmanian, who has the record for drinking 48 cans of beer from Australia to England. David Boone. Yeah. Bowling machines. Yeah. So Simon's, he's mentioned that on some shows. So his brother manufactures these bowling machines. So the next time Simon and I are hanging out here together, and we've got a few little hangouts planned, we'll get Simon to talk about that. He's mentioned that before, so because we have some Aussies here in the chat, you'll be interested to get it from Simon, from the professor himself. He can tell you all about these bowling machines. Yeah, David Boone, he was just phenomenal. That guy, a little fellow, had such a straight head. His head would never move, and he would get it behind the line of the ball and lift his bat up. Was phenomenal. And you guys had Dean Jones, who passed away a couple of years ago. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I remember Dean Jones, just... AB, Alan Border. Wow. We had a couple of pretty good cricketers. Richard Hadley, you guys may have heard of him. Martin Crowe. Our captain Kane Williamson is an outstanding cricketer. He's leading a couple of stats. I think he's number 2 or 3 in the world. And yeah, we love fronting up against the Aussies. A Kiwi and an Aussie in sport. Yeah, but unfortunately the scale tips. The Aussies, they have it over us. Yeah, Rod Marsh, I remember that. I remember Rod Marsh. I was a little fellow and the underarm, and we were watching that series, and I would have been early teens, and I remember watching that with my mum, and they said, he's going to bowl underarm. Who was the commentator, the famous Victorian, Bill Laurie, couldn't believe it. And I remember Rod Marsh going up to one of the brothers, one of the chapels, saying, "Mate, you can't do this," shaking his head. So, mate, you can't bowl underarm. Shaking it. Yeah. There was a fantastic documentary on that, underarm, last year. It was on the History Channel. I suspect you guys would have got that in Aussie too. Boy, you guys put some pressure on your cricketers. To be an Australian cricketer, you're carrying the weight of your nation. And that's something that Kiwis have always admired from Australians. I'll tell you that now, while you guys are here. We have always admired the determination and that winning attitude that Australians have in sport. New Zealanders don't tend to have it. We don't tend to have that mongrel. We don't tend to have that, give you a bit of a slap kind of attitude. We tend to have this, it's okay kind of attitude, but the Australians, no. And we admire that. If a Kiwi doesn't tell you that they don't admire that, they're lying. And that's coming from a Kiwi who doesn't lie. Yeah, I saw Martin Crowe bat here in Hamilton a lot of times, probably half a dozen times, and the way that he had that bat in the air, his timing was phenomenal. Yeah, he was an inspiration to a generation of New Zealand cricket fans. He was one of the guys that said, in the late 80s of that New Zealand team that, we can match these English guys, these Aussies, these West Indians. We can give them a go. Yeah. Chris Cairns, yeah, I remember him. Chris Cairns, his dad, Lance Cairns, with his bat Excalibur that had sloped shoulders, and he was at the MCG, and I think, now this is in the olden days, guys, this is before whacking sixes became, the norm. the short form of the game now gives a lot of batsmen the ability to do that and a different technique. But in the late 80s, for a batsman to hit 6 sixes at the MCG in one innings was pretty phenomenal. And you guys know there's only one team that has an advantage at the MCG, and that's an Australian team, because that ground is huge. And we saw that with New Zealand in that World Cup final in 2015. We beat Australia here at Eden Park in a small ground. And again, that's interesting, because the Aussies don't like that. They can't play in these cramped grounds. They just love to be, because they're stroke players, they just love knowing that, bang, they can smack it down there. And then, a couple of weeks we go to the final, and I was worried, because none of the guys, I think only one guy in the New Zealand cricket team had ever played at the MCG. And if you haven't played at the MCG and you're playing in a World Cup final, well, you're up the creek. Yeah. We need to start a cricket channel. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the Ally, but yeah, I remember that too. Holy cow. Yeah, that had to be a gimmick. That had to be Dennis Lilly just being... Yeah, had to be a gimmick. The All Blacks, in particular, golden years of Southern Hemisphere attacking rugby style, seem to be fueled by a special kind of New Zealand mojo. Look, Deja Voodoo, if it wasn't for the All Blacks, we wouldn't be able to be on the stage in any kind of consistent form, and again, the All Blacks are held in high regard by a lot of Kiwis because of that, because of, if you're a patriot, like I am, your national sports teams, signifiers of that patriotic national aspect of your country, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to have, national teams get out there and play for things. And, if you like it, you like it. If you don't. But, yeah, we're lucky to have the All Blacks, because, they are consistently representing New Zealand at a high level. And, it hurts when we lose. We lost to England in the semi-final of the last World Cup. England smashed us, blew us off the ball. We just did. And by half-time, I knew that we weren't coming back. We've had All Black teams in the past down half-time, and that last 20 minutes they kick in and can score 4 or 5 tries. But no, not against that England team. Eddie Jones had them up. But again, England's problem is consistency. So, they can have one good game against the All Blacks in 6 or maybe 10. You have to have that consistency. And I'll tell you guys what, my Australian friends and brothers watching, you watch Dave Rennie. Dave Rennie, watch what he will do with the Wallabies. Dave Rennie was the local coach here of the Waikato Chiefs, and he took our team to back-to-back Super 12, Super 15 titles, 2012 and 2013. And you watch what he will do with the Wallabies. You will be back there. Dave Rennie is a master. He is a man that knows how to motivate men. He's not one of these screamers. He's not one of these nutcases that likes to play games with the media like a couple of coaches that you guys have had. He is a communicator, and he tells you what's happening. But he just has this ability to make men want to go out and play rugby for him. Yeah, you watch him. Yeah, the Wallabies. You guys will be back there. Yeah. He's that last coach that you guys had, the New South Wales coach, the multi-millionaire, who's the assistant coach of the Argentinians, of the Pumas. Some guys are good assistant coaches, and clearly he is, because they beat the All Blacks just before Christmas. And some guys, are able to lead a coaching staff, manage to unite around, some goals. Michael Checker was, so we used to laugh at that guy here. We just couldn't believe some of the silly things Michael Checker would come out and say. It was just like, wow, weird. But yeah, Dave Reaney, he's a different kettle of fish. What he did with the Waikato Chiefs, because it's a professional game here, so he goes into the change room, the dressing room, after a training thing, and the Chiefs get up and get dressed or whatever, and they're going. He says, no, come back here. And they all came back, and he said, clean up the changing room. It's your mess. And they kind of looked at each other and thought, oh, okay. So they all stayed behind and cleaned up the changing room and then buggered off. So right from the word go, he got them together as a team doing a shitty job. Kind of letting them know too that, I'm the coach. Yeah, look, you guys have got this loose forward. He got sent off. Deja Voodoo. I forget his name. He's an Aussie. He's not an island boy that's playing for you guys. He's an Aussie. He's a big unit, and he got sent off just recent. Man, that you wouldn't want to meet that guy in a dark alley and owe him $10. I forget this guy's name. He's a loose forward. He could be your Pocock. He could be the guy that's going to lead the Australian Wallaby forward pack, because that's one thing that you guys have always had. You've had that leadership, that leader. And some players need to have that. They need to have that guy for them to play better. I'll do some research on who that guy is, but he hasn't had a lot of tests. In fact, I think he's only played, this year, but clearly the Aussies have got a lot of hope on him. Like when Brian Clough signed Trevor Francis for his job, put the kettle on. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, that's making a statement, isn't it? Hey, yeah, go and get me a cup of milk and 2 sugars. Oh, and bring back a bacon snarny at the same time. Okay, boss. No problem. Yeah. All right. Look, guys. Awesome hanging out with you. Take it easy. Be safe. Good reference. Oh, Simon. Yeah, look, you stay safe in the UK. We've had some weirdo from South Africa come back who tested negative a couple of times, travelled around the North Island in the far north. Has apparently got this South African variant of this flu. So we just hope, put a lot of trust in our elected officials that they do the best for us, because, well, that's their job. So we just hope that our elected officials and unelected elites look after us. And that's the only political message you're going to get from me. Stay safe. Simon, see you Saturday, brother. And, Sunday. See you Sunday with Brad. Blues guitar, Warren, thank you for hanging out. Deja Voodoo. Interesting how we just went from talking about Epiphone guitars to cricket and rugby, and the rivalry between Australia, New Zealand, and that little island in the northern hemisphere, little island called England.
Thank you.